Hey there, welcome to episode 129 of the Let's Innovate for Vegas audio program. I'm your host, Dan Hugo, Managing Director of the Innovate for Vegas Foundation, a Nevada nonprofit 501c3 public charity. Our purpose is to enable and encourage ideation, innovation, and implementation to make our communities better. You'll note that I did not say coding. Innovation takes many forms. Coding might be one of them, but it's not the only one. Today's title and topic, 20% time. If you don't know what that is, I'll give you a brief introduction to it. Many people know what it is by now, I think. Work on your own thing Fridays, something along those lines. If you're not familiar with the Let's Innovate for Vegas program or the Innovate for Vegas Foundation, I described our purpose. We are a civic volunteer organization. Civic tech is something you may hear now and then. That is a part of civic volunteerism. Essentially, look around, see if there's anything that you might be able to take part in improving, and do it when you can. Maybe on your 20% time. Hopefully, wherever you found this audio program, you're able to locate the episode description, which contains the show notes, including a brief summary, which I'll read to you, and the usual 4 links. So I'll go through those very quickly, and then we can get on with the episode. 20% time. Summary: call it a side gig, call it a passion project, call it 20% time. There are a variety of ways to redirect some volunteer time, effort, and expertise toward community elevation. That might be one of them. Our links, as usual, the innovateforvegas.org homepage, innovate FOR Vegas, no spaces, .org. That is our homepage for activities, civic volunteers, our initiatives, the stuff we are trying to do. We added another website fairly recently, the Innovate for Vegas Foundation sort of business website, Innovate for Vegas, Innovate FOR Vegas, no spaces, Foundation. That's where you'll find the business aspect of our nonprofit. We are a nonprofit corporation. We're a 501c3 public charity. We file our 990 tax returns. We have bylaws, all that boring stuff. So that's the sort of stuff that we will be publishing there. It's still a work in progress, of course. What is not? projectact.info. That's project-act.info. The hyphen is the key next to the 0 on most keyboards. That's the Autonomous Cohort Tessellation Project. Hopefully a way to help with discovery of autonomous cohorts in a mosaic of activity so that we might enable and encourage connection, communication, and collaboration between them. And finally, agileforvolunteers.org. That's Agile, FOR Volunteers, Agile for Volunteers, no spaces, .org. That is our initiative internally to create a better way or a more clear way to enable and encourage civic volunteers to apply and contribute their own time, effort, and expertise in such a way as that we value it rather than wasting it. It's based on Agile first principles from back in the old days, about 20 years ago. Was it 20 years ago? 24 years ago? It was a while ago. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I've done entire episodes on Agile for Volunteers, but it does factor into the 20% project. You'll probably be able to figure that out. So that is also very much a work in progress. Most of the work on Agile for Volunteers we're doing internally first, and then it will roll out to that website, agileforvolunteers.org. So what is a 20% project? What is a 20% time project? And again, a couple of different ways of labeling them, I suppose. Google made a big thing of this 2 decades ago or so. The notion that the employer, Google, would pay their employees to spend 20%, usually a Friday, of their work week. And note that it may or may not be hours. It may have been like spend the Friday afternoon, but really you're going to spend the other 100 hours a week on your day job. I don't know. I've never worked for Google, but you could spend 20% on something the employee wanted to work on, whether it had anything to do with their day job or not, which of course led to many interesting outcomes. Did Google end up owning this stuff? It's unclear, maybe in some cases. Maybe first refusal, it's hard to say. Hunt down the terms of the 20% time. They would matter if you were working on something. If you decided you wanted to form a startup and spin it off from Google, they may have something to say about that. Generally speaking, if an employer has the resources to yield some paid time back to other endeavors, employees are enabled to spend some of their waking hours on some other projects and initiatives, which ultimately makes employees better with continued job and life skills development, working with others on other things. Happier employees, probably some other upsides. I think if an employee gets to work on especially some community elevating endeavors, they might enjoy saying, hey, this place isn't so bad. I'm enjoying working here because they enable me to do the things that I really enjoy doing for the sake of doing them, not as a job so much. It might look great for the company in question to enable such pursuits as well, winning all around. It is also possible, though perhaps more of a challenge with resources like time and money likely constrained, for a smaller company, even a startup, to enable 20% pursuits, maybe 10%. And how about students in school? More interestingly, suppose students were encouraged to spend one school day each week on an independent program of study that might be some community elevation initiative or their own startup effort or something else. Could happen. Experimental education, innovation in education, perhaps. So how about community elevating endeavors? These 20% pursuits could be anything, presumably, but let us focus for a moment on civic volunteerism, which is, of course, the thing we are focused on with this foundation. That would be the Innovate for Vegas Foundation. So suppose one day each week someone spends their time as an employee, as an entrepreneur, as a student, sometimes paid, sometimes on their own, spends their time, effort, and expertise on some volunteer effort aimed at community elevation. And this could be on their own, but maybe more effectively with others in a group, or maybe a cohort, maybe an autonomous cohort. There are a few positive aspects to this approach to applying that 20% time. If this is a first effort, the first time someone is engaging in a 20%, you mean I get to spend time on Fridays working on whatever I want? Imagine that. It is almost certainly easier to learn by doing, so to speak, to figure out how to best focus. There are, best ways to apply time and thinking, how best to communicate with the other members of a cohort, if there are any, and so on. Could 20% time be spent on other endeavors? Of course, but getting started for that first try, it does make some sense to look at a community elevating initiative. Those are traditionally low pressure, high value return. Hey, somebody volunteered their time to help to improve a situation. There are probably cases where that is not popular, but it probably looks good to everybody. Not to put too fine a point on it, but working with others on these sorts of 20% pursuits can return some elevated job and life skills on top of the community elevating outcomes. If a cohort of 20% time people can collaborate on something across skill sets, levels of experience, and initiative component projects, that is, different parts of the whole, there is, again, a lot of winning on the output side. This is built into our methodology, by the way. One of the challenges pursuing a 20% time endeavor with others is coordinating efforts. It is easy to presume that all of the participants work for a company like Google and are focused on some software application or platform of some kind, but what about people in different places? Some with a software background, others with skills and experience and expertise in general with other aspects of an initiative. Not everything is code. If all of the members of this cohort pursuing a single or maybe multiple interrelated initiative parts are not able to spend the same time collaborating in person or remotely or both, the need to coordinate asynchronously becomes apparent. Hey, guess what? Another job skill, especially if there are documentation, testing, coding, translating, and other skills at work here, working together when they can. This may seem like a small matter, but when we really consider this aspect of a 20% collaborative endeavor, and this does not apply to a solo side project, usually, though, the moment one more person joins, forward progress may cease entirely if the cohort spends its time and energy trying to keep their initiative moving forward rather than actually moving their initiative forward. This is most definitely a job skill. Anyone who's ever worked for a big company where you feel like you're just not getting stuff done, it can be frustrating and not good for the team or the individual. It's probably a useful life skill as well. Yeah, correct a little typo here. Life is spelled with an F, not a K. To know when communication and clarity are missing, getting in the way of effective use of time, effort, and expertise, we are contributing to this thing we want to accomplish. In other words, If I'm volunteering and there's no communication, if we're not all on the same page, if we're slowing each other down because of these things, it's difficult to remain focused on contributing this volunteer time, effort, and expertise. Now you just spend them somewhere else. Something that is also not immediately obvious is the value of attention when it comes to these sorts of pursuits. Maybe not at first. It is more difficult to explain the thing we are working on when it is still in a formative state, when we are figuring out what it is not, why we are doing this, what we hope to accomplish, and so on. However, this is something that we all probably want people to notice at some point, not only our own efforts, but that we are trying to accomplish this thing. This is a piece of that culture of innovation I may have mentioned in previous efforts, where people in and around our locality here in Greater Vegas area, or maybe wherever you are aware that some people, often students or those early in their profession, are volunteering themselves to contribute to elevating communities, not only within the locality itself, but ideally beyond. If you do something well here, maybe it might work elsewhere, and vice versa. One way to get over the first activation energy hill, so to speak, that is the hill that we must climb to activate the next milestone, is to have a cohort that not only spends their 20% or so on an initiative, but also tells others about it. Word of mouth is a classic, effective way to get the word out, to let people know that something exists. Nowadays, this happens on social media, so be it. It helps to be excited and motivated to participate in the initiative, whatever it is. And by the way, it may or may not be a part of of our foundation and its initiatives. It could be anything. We're an equal opportunity advocate for such things. Local press coverage would be nice. This is a taller hill to climb, and there are many others to climb before that one. One of those hills is actually deploying something so that people have something to notice. Oh, look at that. They solved the problem, whatever it is. They made something better. Great. And they did it just because they wanted to? Sign me up. So the culture of innovation. There is some hype posted mostly on LinkedIn, but mentioned elsewhere as well, around the Greater Vegas area becoming, or already being, a global innovation hub, possibly the next Silicon Valley. I may have commented on this previously, but suffice to say that one of the ways to reach these lofty reality goals, is to have a population of innovative people who are motivated to pursue novel ideas, solve real problems, and make their communities better. They may do it as a for-profit startups and entrepreneurial ventures, or maybe they get more involved with the people and the communities around them and the way these things function, our infrastructure, our government staff, government agencies, non-government agencies, bureaucracy, and so on. And when you become involved, you know and understand more. Hey, this sounds like part of our purpose statement, not the political stuff. We are apolitical, but understanding how systems work so that we can make them better, sure. While it is never too late to embrace innovation, to explore ways to solve problems or to make our smart city or region smarter, did I not complete that thought? It's good to start whenever. It might involve... This might involve, wow, this final paragraph might be my upstairs neighbor playing guitar right now, which you may or may not be hearing, distracting me. It's been going on for a while. Sorry, got to vent. Digging into the way things work or almost work and do not work at all to implement a workable solution. It's never too late to do those things. You can do them when you're just learning about how government works, how society works, some history, some anthropology maybe. Some government, some civics, but it could be much later after you've been there, done that, and got the t-shirts. Does this mean a software development? Maybe. There might be some software development, but that might be only a part of it. It might also mean listening to people, understanding the notion of co-creation, and learning how to work with other people of varied skills who want to apply those skills along with their time and effort to the pursuit of possible improvement of their and our surroundings. It could be local community, or it could be larger infrastructure. It could be a lot of things. It depends. I'll end this brief episode. It's a little bit shorter than normal, but I got a late start because some external noise inputs that are a problem. But I'll end by repeating that attention helps a lot here The more people know that some people are pursuing those efforts, these sorts of things, the more likely more people will pursue these sorts of things. I didn't know people were working on this. I am also interested in working on this. And this is how a culture of innovation might emerge. Will our local media outlets make more front page news stories about such things? Will local content creators visit and interact with cohorts of people pursuing such things? Will more people be interested and engaged in such things? Maybe to all of these. But in a place such as Greater Vegas, where gaming is such an integral part of the local economy, maybe even some of your days, maybe you're involved with gaming in some way, hopefully winning. There is no more true a saying than this. You can't win if you don't play. So shall we play a game? Hopefully you got the War Games reference there. But either way, you don't know unless you try. There's all those different ways of saying it. This is one of the things that we're engaged in right now, especially with the school year starting, is reaching out to students and their teachers or to anyone interested in community elevation to be a part of doing just that. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you for listening. As always, we'll talk to you again next week. And hey, we kept it short today. A little gift for you at the beginning of August 2025. Did I mention that? We finished recording at 4:05 p.m. Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. Thank you. Take care.